Hello, 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 and welcome back to another episode. My name is Nick. I am the host of CyBytes, the podcast that brings you conversations with cyber pros here in UAE, showcasing their stories, their experiences. Today we have Joan Vidal. He is one of my good friends and a absolute workhorse. He is a SOC lead right now, working here in UAE, and I wanted to get him on to showcase his story. I met him 3 years ago when we were working together in the SOC, and just to see his trajectory from where he first started to where he is now is just inspiring. We talk about his first ever encounter with a ransomware as an L1, how he had no other team members to work with, and also his approach to learning, something that I think a lot of people should take something away from. He has a very straightforward, fundamental approach to learning, and I think that is what has fueled his success into where he is right now, hopping between very large companies here in UAE. And we also talk about what he does on the side. And this is what this podcast is about, to, demystify a lot of the craziness that's involved in this industry. Outside of cyber, Joan is also a voiceover artist, a podcast host, and an active voice for Dominicans here in UAE, something I'm a very fond supporter of, and his approach to it, very entrepreneurial guy. From sharing immigration tips to explaining what Ramadan is here, he has a very unique approach to blending culture, career, and communication, and showing that soft skills really matter as much as the hard skills. Hope you enjoy this episode. There we go. Johan, welcome to the podcast. How's it going?
Hey Nick, thank you very much for having me here. It's been very great, and I have a good pleasure of being here. Thank you.
No worries. I'm excited, man. I've been wanting to get you on board for a while now, actually, even though this is my third episode. It's you. The reason I wanted you on is because you have quite an interesting journey. Many people tend to make this journey themselves and don't really get to share that story. Or if there's people who are willing to do the same thing, they need to know the steps to do it, or how to get to where you are right now. And that's why I wanted you on. I wanted you to showcase how you got to where you are, because when we first met, I was like, holy so yeah, I mean, before we go ahead, like, please, give me a bit of background on who you are, what you do, what things you're into, and how you got involved in this industry.
Well, first, like I would say, like my beginnings, like when I started in this field of technology and also cybersecurity, I think I would have to go back to when I was in high school. One of my cousins, who in that time he was living in New York and working in computer technology, like tech support in some company in New York. He told me and my brother, like, guys, if you want to find work anywhere in the world, you need to study cybersecurity. You need to work in cybersecurity. So that was something that actually like stick to my mind for a while. And when I was ready to go to university, I selected the career. Like I did it just like that. I was checking on the different careers, and the career that had the cybersecurity class, that's the career that I went for. And that career was about network configuration, switching, routing, and all these things. I started in Institute of Technology in Dominican Republic, where I come from. And there I got to learn about telecommunications, also about computers, and how to fix computers and make changes on computers. So I that developed my understanding on technology and devices and communications. And then, well, I was when I finished this technical college, because it's like a two year career. It was a 2 year career. I went ahead and continued with my engineering degree in university, because there was like some benefits of studying in this Institute of Technology, that I was able to go into a university to take the engineer degree, but with let's say instead of 4 years, I would be able to finish the career in 2 years and a half.
Nice.
So I went for it and I finished with my engineering degree in information and communication technologies, also in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic. And before I finished the engineering degree, I started working in a company as a IT support. Yeah, I think that's one of the most common,
Yeah.
the jobs to start in this field. It's actually a point, like a starting point that is very important because you come fresh from college and you get to see them and understand how companies work and everything, like your first experiences, and be able to provide like solutions, because something that I have been always very interested into is to know how things work and how I can fix them if there is any issue, or something that I can provide from it. So that experience, that was amazing for me. I was able to jumpstart my career. Then I went to a second company in also in Dominican Republic. This company was a telecommunications company, and in this company, I joined into a customer care role, but it was more, let's say, like tech support by phone or by line. So I needed to troubleshoot networks and also resolve in by like customers who would call to this line, and I would have to resolve their issues on the line, because these customers, they were business customers, and they were calling because they had an issue with their communication. So it was like something very impactful for them. So I had to, I learned troubleshooting skills there, working under pressure, and trying to bring the best solution for an issue that a customer is having. So then in that company, in this telecommunications company where I started in the customer care role, there was a position that was opening for cybersecurity, and this was like they were trying to build a team that will be part of the security operations center. In that time, like it was like 2016, uh, many companies in Dominican Republic, they were going forward to jump into cybersecurity because that was something that was not completely established. It was only after a new law from the Dominican Republic that companies started like doing these type of activities. So I was one of the guys who joined into this let's say the development of this new team in this telecommunications company. I started as a L1 analyst, working on shift, checking logs, doing correlations, reviewing the malware activities, the malware scans, results, forensic activities, like everything that a security operations center can do in that moment. And we were like very new in that, and I was very new in that. I learned a lot. And yeah, after that, I went into another company in Dominican Republic, also in cybersecurity. So that point was like my starting point in cybersecurity. So that from there, I went to another security operations center in Dominican Republic. And then during the pandemic, I had an opportunity that presented to come here to UAE. And since that time, I have been established in UAE also in cybersecurity, in security operation centers, and yeah, and continue with other certifications, and like keeping on the development of that, because as I mentioned, like I develop the capability of troubleshooting because I like to fix things. So I understood that in cybersecurity, most of the things, when you need to find what was the issue or the root cause of something, you need to investigate. So it kind of like match the same feeling that I was feeling when I was doing troubleshooting
Right,
for
right.
telecommunications.
Yeah.
Yes. So that's something that I'm very interested into. Like I very passionate about investigations and threat hunting and things like that in the cybersecurity world.
Nice, nice. Man, that is an intense journey, right? Um, I have a lot to pick apart. um, I want to first speak to you and ask you about university, right? Because it's a very common thing to learn what cybersecurity is at university, especially for younger guys like us. We typically come into cyber through this pathway, right? It's not I worked in IT before, I've
Yeah.
been working in 20 years and then I just stumbled upon cyber. No, you learned about it. There was already an established course, there's established curriculum, it's in the industry, right? So you understand the industry through university.
Yeah.
You didn't know anything at uni, right? You got told that this is what cyber is and this is why it is. And just now you mentioned, one of the reasons why you like cyber, which is the investigation portion, right? There's a sense of curiosity that's being pushed. When did that happen? When did you have that realization that this is what it is? Because I know a lot of L1s, I know a lot of L2s who are still kind of struggling with that feeling of why am I doing this?
Oh, well. I can tell you that in my first experience in cybersecurity in the Security Operations Center, there was some alert or some situation that was happening. So for me, like I think I developed for myself the way of like let's say my blueprint, my own blueprint of how am I going to deal with these things in cybersecurity, especially in security operation centers. You know that we work with alerts, incidents, these situations or events in the networks or that trigger some of the rules that or the alerts that we have in place. So from there, like we need to investigate and understand because I've since the beginning and something that I got to understood on in university is that alerts are only the top of the iceberg of an activity. It's just something that we have in place in the systems, in the SIM tools, and or in the network and the security controls that we have in place. These are just the top of the icebergs because there was a situation that just stumbled upon this specific activity that we configure in this alert rule. But we need to look deeper to understand what other situations are happening that are not being picked up by the rules that we have. Because that situation it's not a single behavior. There can be many other behaviors that we are just not able to see.
Yeah,
So I understood from the beginning that that's something that for me to understand the why the alert trigger and also to kind of like collect the different evidences and the different points and the different behaviors and then make like a connection in between those behaviors or connect the dots so I can
yeah,
have like a clear understanding of the situation and a clear understanding of the actions that I have to do and where to do it. So that was something that yes, was able to develop it during my experiences, like facing the strange cases, the cases that nobody wants to take on, because that's something that happens a lot. Like let's say there are alerts or cases that happen concurrently, and people just some people just like to take them because it's very easy and it's something that you don't need to spend much time on it. But for me, I've always been interested to go to the most the most challenging situations and cases and incidents and tasks because I know that that's where the knowledge is, where the knowledge relies on the challenging cases. So that's something I always
yeah.
look forward to.
This is a really good thing, actually, the fact you said this, um, because that from learning your story, right? Just for anyone listening to this story, is that you've bounced on from different companies quite a lot. Not just out of it, just kind of you're following your curiosity, right? But you're not just been giving these roles. You're not just been like, hey, there's a space, there's an opening. You've clearly demonstrated that, right? That's how
Yes.
you moved into. That's kind of how you got to where you are, and also just from knowing you personally as well, this is how it is. I know you. This is how you work, and it's impressive because you're doing a lot of difficult stuff, right? Like you said, you're doing the deeper investigations. You're finding, why and when to tune the rules, or how frequently to tune the rules. How is it affecting the business at large? It's more than just response. You're doing
Exactly.
a whole lot more. I think that is what's helped get you to where you are. Of course, there's many other things, but that is specifically with cyber.
Yeah.
Um, that's quite cool because it's very rare to find someone who's feels that passion, or rather recognizes that ability in themselves. And in cyber specifically, for example, in my own case, I've told this story many times. I never know which path or which way to go, or whether I wanted to go red teaming or blue teaming, right? But then there's always this one moment that you felt, ah, okay, that makes sense. What was that one moment for you where you felt this is the thing I need to do?
Well, I would say a situation when I faced my first like ransomware, like something
Wow.
that was like live. Like there was a situation when a machine was connected to the network, like an old machine was turned off for maybe for 2 years or something like that. And in that company, someone just happened to turn on this machine and connect it to the network. And you know that this machine has been turned off for 2 years, so no patching was able to reach this machine. It was running Windows. So when they connected this, and I was in the shift in that moment, the SOC. So we started looking all these alerts that were triggering on the network monitor that we had in the tool
Yeah.
in that moment in that company. And the behavior was looking like, okay, this machine is trying to make connections to external IPs over multiple different ports, and it's attempting like on a pattern, like every 3 seconds to the same bulk of IPs. So it was giving some behavior of ransomware activity,
Yeah.
like the
Yeah.
ransomware trying to reach or find another services that it,
Mm-hmm. There's some beaconing going on.
yeah, some beaconing exactly. So this situation, like I was just an L1 in that moment. And that situation, like I was feeling like the rush, like, oh my God, that's something I need to do, something like immediately,
Yeah.
because this can spread all over the network and do a big harm,
Mm-hmm.
because we don't know
It's
what
make
can.
or break.
Yeah, we don't know what beast was coming from that device that was sleeping for 2 years.
That's
So
insane.
yeah, so I went ahead and making all the isolation VLAN, moving the device to the isolation VLAN, then doing the extract of the logs from the device, and then like doing some way of like the mitigation techniques, that we use for that we can use for this situation. And at the end, we were able to contain it and find out where it was located and what happened, and all the situations. So when that situation happened, that like I was able to see that the activity when it happened, and then to find out and to apply all the mitigation technique activities and actions, like that was something when I said like, wow. And when I was also like looking back in the logs of the other uh like in the SIEM tool, or the other devices, and I was able to see how it looks on the like how the situation was looking on the logs. That's something that I said, wow, that's amazing. Like I never saw this a ransomware like
Yeah. You saw the
live.
visual proof. You saw like the logs. You saw the IP addresses. You
Yes.
saw it all kind of made sense to you in that moment.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Especially because it was more than just, it was not even like a penetration test. It was something that it was out of control. So totally no one knew that it was gonna happen. So yeah, like in that moment, like this rush of performing the actions and responding, that actually brought me a very big, like sense of fulfillment, and also to to be able to prevent in the future if any situation like that happen, understand how the detection rules in this network monitoring tool were configured, to understand what is the reasoning or what is the logic behind it. So that also, like, in any situation I try, and I always uh, mention to other people to do the same thing, that in any situation there's something that you can learn from it. So I try to do it, and
Yeah.
yeah, I've learned a lot of things from that. But that moment actually brought me to say, like, yeah, that's something I really enjoy it. It's like a rush, but it's nice when you see the results.
It's a personal rush and a business rush. Both have different connotations.
Yes, yes. You have the pressures from
Yeah.
from both sides, and
Yeah,
then
yeah, yeah, of
people
course.
coming to ask you
It's
things. Yeah.
that's an L1 dealing with a ransomware. It's trial by fire, man. Like you're clearly gonna pick up a lot of things. Because again, I'm assuming it wasn't just you, right? It was yourself, it was your team, it was your SOC managers, your IR managers. That is quite fun to be a part of. You know, understanding how the pros do it, you're learning from them, you know, how what the responses were, and then you get given some certain tasks to be like, okay, go work on this, go work on the network logs, go look at the same logs. You know, it becomes a really strong team effort, um, but that can be really exciting.
Oh yeah, yeah, and yeah, like in that specific situation, it was only me and another L1 colleague
Oh,
of mine that we were
wow.
there. We didn't even raise the case to the L2s, because we wanted to like make the solution of on like
You took it on
yeah,
yourself.
yeah, yeah, like mitigate this, because that's also like a vision I have as when I was an L1. Like, and as an L1, I'm not looking just to say, okay, this is suspicious or not. I want to go further. I want to see why this is happening. What is the origin? How it is coming from, where? Like all these WH questions, I try to find the answer, to understand, and then maybe go forward and request to the action. It's like not relying on directly on L2s to give you the understanding. You can understand also if you can put the time and the effort on it. If you need the L2s, and for my case, if I needed the L2s, it was just because of some action that I didn't have the privilege to
Yeah.
perform, and they had it. But always, I never thought myself as just someone who can just forward the cases to L2, because without even understanding what the case is. So that in that case, that actually that's why we only kept it in the L1 level, and we like completed the case fully, and then we just informed them that this happened.
This is what happened. Yeah.
Yes, yes.
Nice. This is cool because I wanted to get this out of you because a lot of new joiners in this industry tend to think that defense is difficult or defense is not that fun, or because it's not that fun because it's difficult, because they come in thinking, oh, they watch Mr. Robot or they do these red teaming courses and they're like, yeah, pen testing is cool, and it is cool, it is freaking badass, and it's fun. You know, you get it has its own scene and stigma around it, and so does defense, right? But I've spoken to a lot of people who it's really just a feeling of, because I don't know it, I don't like it, you know. Um, for you, you're clearly a blue teamer. You're a defender at heart, you know. Um, what areas of cyber have you been a part of that aren't defense, and did they excite you?
Well, actually, in Dominican Republic, before I came to UAE, I was part of the Red Team community of the Dominican Republic, which is called Red Team RD. They are still like it's just a bunch of group of people that in that time we were gathering all together to to share knowledge about pen testing, to share knowledge about red teaming, about cybersecurity in general. And in each meeting, there will be we will be like resolving some of the machines from Hack the Box. like these CTF
Nice.
also platforms. So that's most of the activities that they have done in red teaming has been in this way, like in like I was able to, you know, to pound many machines there in the hack the box in these meetings. I think they're still doing these meetings up until now. Like it's been already 5 years, and the community has grown very much in Dominican Republic in of Red Team and Red Team RD. It's in Spanish, but you can find it as Red Team RD. And yeah, like most like that's the experience I've had in red teaming, like in the practice and in these labs environments. But in working environments, I haven't been part of like directly working in red teaming. But I would say like the practice in these lab environments has also benefited in some way like my career, because if you understand from the other side, from the red teaming, how, let's say, something that you see on the blue team, then you are able to know what is the next step, or the next action that can that this situation will trigger, so you can be like one top ahead. And you can be
Thumbs up.
one yes, so you can be like one step ahead, and actually understand from both sides how they look, how everything looks like. And I don't know if many people understand this, but yeah, it just gives you like a better view of any situation, any,
Gives you context.
gives you the context.
Yeah.
And when you're on the blue team, you see, okay, this is when I did NCAD in the red team practice, this is how it looks on the blue team side. So yeah, that's something that that's the activities I've been having in just in red teaming. But outside of defense, I've been also involved more recently in GRC activities, you know, making sure that everything is the way it has to be according to regulatory mandates, or you know, standards and things like that. But yeah, like most like but my passion is on everything that requires, like, there is a problem, and you need to find a solution.
Yeah.
That's all it has been, and I think it will always be like my hustle. Not like I'm not sure if that's the correct word to say, but that's like my go-to activity
Yeah.
always. Like the
Yeah.
things that you need to fix,
It's the one
because
that makes sense to.
that makes sense to me, exactly. That
Mm.
I just feel so much like joy when I find the in that time. Let's say back in the day, we used to find the log that told us that, like, we where we could see the activity from this threat actor at some moment. Like we had to look at this each one of these logs manually to understand
Yeah.
how it happened. But now when I do it, like, that's something that I like the most.
You're clearly really good at it. Like it's not just something you just learned and it's a job for you and you kind of go good at the job. You're very much it's baked within you, and that's really nice to see. You know, because it comes out in those moments where you just don't shy away from the difficult stuff. You know, there's a difficult
Yes.
incident that's happened. You're like, okay, this I know what it means to do this. I know what it means to take this challenge on, right? However, what about some challenges where you felt kind of underprepared for or kind of struggled to do? What are some of the things that you're kind of struggling with at the moment? You mentioned GRC. Is that something that you're that kind of makes as much sense to you as it does with incident response?
Well, yeah, for me, like, it makes sense. It's important, but I don't feel the same joy as in incident
Mm-hmm.
response. There is like not this rush is not there. Maybe you do some specific configuration for GRC activities, and it's blocking someone from accessing their email or accessing something. And yeah, okay, that's something that is it became an issue to someone else and you can resolve on it. But it's not the same. It's not the
Mm,
same. I think it's more incident response, like the what I enjoy the most. And yeah, like, and I also during my college years, I had some classes on programming, Java and C++, plus plus, and also Java for Android. I'm not sure if that's still something current because I haven't been update to in the
mm,
in the programming languages if something has changed. But yeah, I learned some things. I developed some applications back then, and that's something that now I want to implement. I want to have more hands-on in this part of the developing things directly from the code. Like if I need this, I want to make it. I think that's one of the things that are challenging for right now. But that if I just go back to it, I think I know I can take it.
okay. How are you going to go back to it then? What's that going to look like to you? Because you've identified something that you're struggling with and that you think will definitely help your job, right? That'll help your job. They'll help yourself. It'll help your general understanding of this area. How are you going to go about learning something like that?
Well, yeah, it would be just focusing on it in the way of probably going back to checking, videos for trainings or joining communities. I think
Yeah.
communities will be like the major part. If I find something like that for programming for cybersecurity or something programming slash cybersecurity related, that would be like a good way of coming back to it and actually like connect back to that let's say to that feeling that I had also when I was learning programming in college. So yeah, I think that's there. Um, so I also like run a lot of queries in the same tools that I've been using in my throughout my cybersecurity career, and that kind of feels like similar to programming because you need to use some logic to write these queries, and you can make it as complex as you want. So yeah, I also enjoy creating queries that can do a lot of things, and to take and as much information as possible from different sources. So I think that also relates to the feeling that I have for developing and programming.
Nice. Nice, man. Um, that's actually quite cool. Actually, I'm pretty impressed by that. I think communities. I think communities is something that I can really resonate with, um, especially here in UAE, because it can be quite difficult in this region to find that person, to find that community, to find that group of people where where something feels cool, right? Some people can learn super quickly. They just need a YouTube video and it just makes sense, context, application. They can just do everything. They're like, okay, I got it. I just need a YouTube video. Or they have a partner, or they have a friend who knows something, or knows someone, or they took a course. Um, but I guess for yourself and for me, I need people, right? I need a team. I need 3 or 4 folks that can bounce ideas off of, be like, hey, did you do this? Why didn't you do this? I can ask questions. Doesn't matter who they are or where they're from or how old they are. But that soundboard of knowledge really helps, makes things make sense. And I'm really glad that you said that, because that's it's a very difficult thing to find here in UAE, especially in cybersecurity. Not so much in coding or programming or development, but in cyber, it's a very small community here.
And there's a good way to learn from the experience of others also. So to be able to have like all these perspectives in the same place, then it's only a way for you to grow even more your
Yeah,
understanding and your
yeah,
knowledge.
yeah. I mean, I plan to make my own as well. So the CyBytes community,
No, amazing, amazing.
it'll
I'm
happen
sign
soon.
up. Yes, yes, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah. Cool, man. I want to pivot a little bit into certifications. First thing I want to ask you is, how the hell did you do it? You got CISSP so freaking quick. You're the first person to do it that rapid. And because, in my understanding, people take these long courses or they get the big books and they have to do all these preparations for 6 months on end. I remember I spoke to you when you got it. You're like, yeah, I just did one, I did the free CC squared, or I think the free CC squared course on the website. And then you're like, yeah, that was my preparation. I got it in like a week.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's true. I got to know about this certified in cybersecurity certification that ISC 2 Square was like providing, and I was very interested. I was like, okay, I already have certifications from Cisco. I already have certification from CompTIA, the CISA Plus.
Yeah.
So I was interested and curious to know, okay, let's see how something from how an exam or a certification or material, let's say the content from ISC 2 squared looks like. Like I was curious to know because I already know CompTIA, I know Cisco, so let's dive into this other one to understand how is their take in cybersecurity? How do they see cybersecurity? So I went ahead, took the course that they were providing for free, and it was a very good produced content, like I would say also it was very like straight to the point, because it's amazing for people that are the who is anyone who is starting in this cybersecurity to take this certification. And it's not a paid promo by any in any way, but it's very let's say it's a very great way for you to understand directly the concepts, and to see that the way they look, how they look cybersecurity from their perspective. So when I was taking this preparation, I thought to myself, wow, this just looks like like a lighter version of CISSP. And I was okay. Let me finish this. I'll finish this CC preparation, and then also it was included with the certification. So I said, okay, I'll take the certification after DCC, and I finished the course. I went to the certification center to take the certification for CC. I went there, I see, okay, I passed the CC, and I was able to also understand the way they ask the questions, or what is their focus in the certification exam. So I was like, okay, this CC, yeah, for me is a lighter version of CISSP. So I said to myself, okay, I started the training for CISSP back when I was in Dominican Republic, like in 2019. But I was only to like be able to have this preparation only maybe for the first chapter, because then the pandemic came and everything vanished. So I was like, okay, I remember some things that I learned in that training, so why don't I just go ahead and go for the certification for CISSP? And if I fail, okay, so there's no problem. I can study. I already have a very good base with the CC. I just need to like advance it a little bit, or make it more extreme than what I saw in the CC. And that was my thought when I went to the certification. I didn't have any expectation. I went there, I saw the questions, I was like, okay, yeah, I understand this question. This they are referring to this thing, and I know that in CISSP they are looking for people to be like with a strong focus on the managerial part, and also like taking into account the company, like to have like this mindset. So when I finished the the exam, the CISSP, and I saw that it was passed at the end, I was surprised myself. I surprised myself. I was like, "What? Like, really? Like, is that it?
Did I just do it?
Like, did I just do it? Like, I was planning to study after, like make this a first attempt, and then start like a full on study for maybe five
Mm-hmm.
months 6 months, and then go
Yeah.
for another attempt. And I was like, okay, now I don't have to do it. Like, it's already there. But the thing is, to like, when you understand the concept and the foundation of anything, you only need to understand like the what is the difference between the foundation and the advanced part, and
Yeah.
you will understand it, because anyhow they will show you this concept like in a very advanced and complex way, in complicated way. If you understand the basic concept, you're done. You have it. You already know what it is.
Yeah, this is a very, very common thing, and I think this translates very much outside of CISSP too, right? Everyone will say the same thing, like fundamentals are core here, and I think a lot of people come into this industry thinking like, okay, I've done this certification, I've done CYSA, I've done these handful of labs, I know I'm confident in myself that I could do this one thing, right?
Hmm.
Without understanding those fundamentals, it will bite you in the back. So I think it's good that you mentioned that as well. Like it's if you have that foundational knowledge to a degree like mastered to the sense like you know what the networking is, you know how to approach certain concepts and topics and what they mean across each other, I think that'll help you navigate the difficult stuff better. It's how I do my training as well. It's like when I come across when we're analyzing a Windows machine, or forensically analyzing or investigating a Windows machine, you have to know what's normal. What is the core? What is good? What is bad? Because if you know
Yeah,
what is good, you know what's bad, right? If you see a server host spawning Excel and that spawning command line, spawning PowerShell, like that's bad, right? It shouldn't.
exactly.
You should know that what that server host sometimes can be good, right? Um, so that differentiation is key there.
Yeah, I know. And even like deeper, like it's I always say, when people who I've known that have joined into cybersecurity, like starting directly in cybersecurity, maybe it's not a way for you to understand the basic concept directly, like to see it like the nitty-gritty of the communications of the how things work. Like, if there is a way for people to see more into technical support at first, or see something directly related to communicate telecommunications or computers, and then jumping into cybersecurity, like,
Yeah,
it will be like a stronger base. It will
it
be like
just
a
makes sense
stronger,
then. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, nice man. So you've done CISSP now, right? Would you recommend others doing it too?
Yes, I recommend others on doing CISSP. Is currently is still a certification that I understand is valued in the current market, especially in UAE, probably in Europe, and also in America and other continents, Africa, Ocean, the other continents as well. But I would say yes. It's a certification that gives you the, let's say, the credentials to someone, to a company, to like to show that you have the technical knowledge, but you also have the understanding of the business. You have the understanding on regulations. You have the understanding on GRC. That it's not only the technical part that you understand, but also all the different aspects that a company needs, or anything would require to be protected. So yes, CISSP I recommend it. Is nice to go for it. There, when someone gets um this certification, there is also a community that you are able to join into, and in this community you can also provide to others. You can also join to make to, let's say, to create the next exam for CCX people, for the CC certification. You can also join and help the ISC2 Square to develop new content, develop new exam, develop new ways to share the knowledge, or you could also join and apply for you to be part of the board of the directors of ISC2 Square, which is something that they do like very frequently. So yeah, and every country also, most countries, they also have their own CISSP or ISC2 Square communities. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's also a great way to connect, to understand, to have more knowledge and contribute with the cybersecurity of the area where you are currently.
Yeah. When you got it, when you got CISSP, did you feel you got a little bit more recognition online from recruiters, from companies, from SOC managers? Did you feel that they treated you a little bit differently because you have it? Not they didn't ask you about the exam itself, but did you feel that um, it gave you that edge? Did you feel that CISSP gave you that advantage?
Yeah, that my answer will be yes, yes. I understand that the recruiters and other people who are looking for cybersecurity professionals, they look a lot into this certification. They know and they understand what it means. So when I got it, yes, I got more. Let's say I was being reached out more. And also when I was contemplating this in my CV, when I was applying to different jobs, yeah, that was something that also came up. Like they understood and they were confident to say that I would be a candidate for the position that I was applying for, and that would be like represented because of this certification. So yes, I totally say that it's a game changer also in the
Yeah,
career for anyone.
nice, nice. Cyber training has changed drastically, right? CISSP, ISC squared have been around a long time, but the training field has changed very much. You know, we're seeing a lot more certifications coming out from TryHackMe, from Security Blue Team. Um,
Mhm.
what's your take on this? Because you know, a lot of these certifications are pushing practical skills. They'll involve a lab element, they'll involve a practical element. Do you think this is necessary? And well, personally, it is necessary, but do you think it should be more accepted, especially in UAE here?
Well, um, as like think that would also go back to the understanding that I have about things, that if you have the basic knowledge, like the foundation, then anything you can go ahead and go for the practical, for maybe only practical things on or more complex things. But if you don't understand it, if you don't understand the baseline, also as you mentioned, the baseline of any environment, then the practical way will not fulfill what you can experience in any moment, because you may understand what you can do in a certain situation, but if something different happens and you don't have the foundation, then you will be lost because you will not
Yeah,
understand the underlyings of this of that behavior. So yes, it's good that these different like providers are coming up with these certifications. It's a good way to have the hands-on, but also we like I would say to people that do not start like directly on the practical only. Like go for the beginnings, go for the understanding, go for the things that are like on the highest requests certifications, and you can do these other ones in a way for you to practice, or for if you have like an special interest, if you want to go forward for let's say malware analysis. If you want to go forward to, you want to take OSCP certification in the future, you can go ahead like take this as a practice, and also it comes along with a certification that you can use also to have more value on your profile. So yeah, they are very important, but yeah, um it's not the only matter or the only point to be focused on in a certain moment, especially when someone is starting on their career.
Yeah, that's quite interesting actually. You say that because it's again like I think it's this very very frequent message that is it tends to be hammered into our heads from a lot of people, um, and I think a lot of people will also, or a lot of people have come into this industry from several channels, right? Whether it's from IT support,
Hmm.
or they've just learned about it online, right? There's a big push for cyber being an attractive career, and it always has been for a lot of people, but it tends to be, it can be oversold at times, right? Um, Based on your experience in UAE here, working in Dubai, what are some of the negative things, or some of the negative aspects that you don't really get to hear about online, or that are a little bit more diplomatic as opposed to cynical, being like, oh, this customer. It's more like, what are some of the things that you've faced that I think could be better, whether it's in cyber itself, in tech, or just with UAE?
Well, UAE has a very strong base in cyber and in tech. Many companies are very well developed on their technologies and their implementations, their designs. But I would say that one thing is just sometimes it's just about the mindset and the mentality of let's say the people or the yeah, anyone who is in cybersecurity, like we need to have a mentality of understanding and resolving, not just like okay, I did this and that's it. Like we need to understand, we need to know why we are blocking an IP. What is that IP? Why are we blocking that IP? Why this IP is triggering an alert?
Yeah,
This alert is looking to pick up an activity of a beaconing activity or scanning activity. Why is this source IP scanning our environment? Like, let's go deeper. Let's
yeah,
understand this. Let's just not block the IP because of this activity. But what happens if something additionally comes maybe from some other source and we didn't detect we didn't use this good opportunity on this first case to actually understand the TTPs or the techniques that this situation was taking advantage of, and now we're being faced with another type of situation that maybe
yeah,
is using the same TTPs. But if we have like this understanding of there's something called the pyramid of pain. If we go forward to understand the top of the pyramid, we can prevent even more. So we just there is just a need for more prevention than just reaction. That's what I've seen. Uh, we need to go forward and prevent from the future, like visualize. Okay, this happened now. In the future, it can look this way, or this. All these questions will be answered if you just take a deep dive on the situation that you get. It will give you all the answers because the best way to predict in the future is taking into account the past. So that's only one
yeah,
way for that applies to everything, even in cybersecurity.
yeah, yeah. I couldn't agree with you anymore, man. Like, I think that is curiosity, right? You have to cultivate that curious thinking, um, that answering that why. And I've experienced that a lot as well. That there's not enough confidence in having that why. It's not that people that they can't do it. It's just they don't know when to do it. But that when is the completely wrong perspective in my opinion. I think it's always a why. You know, why is this IP, like you said, why is this IP in my network? Why is this process running? Why am I building this policy for something that doesn't make sense? Why am I creating this rule when this rule could be better? Why am I analyzing this executable? Why is this executable on this network and why is it not on that all these types of like small whys, it's always there. And like if
Yes.
you answer one, it's not answered the full, like it's not, it hasn't answered the question at large. You have to keep going, and it's tough to do that by yourself, and that's why it's good to have a team to do it.
Yes, yes. So if your team is in the right mindset and they and you know that everything flows in this way, and you can say, okay, you take care of this and take care of the other these other things, and then we combine it and we like bring a very good value for that. Like that's the best way for
Yeah.
to to resolve things in immediately. So that's something I would love to see happening in
Mm-hmm.
some way.
It's a tough one because there are other countries that doing it differently. There's different providers doing different things, but I agree with you, man. I think it's that curious thinking that needs to be pushed a little more, whether it's in universities or in their first job. How we do that? How do you cultivate that sort of thinking? And that's a very tough thing to find. It's more than just do a certification and you're curious now. No, it's you have to make your team feel from a manager's perspective. You have to make him feel okay. If I did something wrong, how do I move forward from it? How do I learn from this? Because it can be scary, when you're an L1, you find ransomware, you don't know what to do. You're panicking. You're like, oh God, I don't know what to do, and that can also affect that thinking, right? It's not anyone's fault. It's just a matter of how you respond to the circumstance that's in front of you,
Yeah.
right? Um, yeah, man. I want to move away from cyber a little bit because if for those who are listening and don't recognize this famous voice, Joanne is a very very avid voice actor. Why voice acting?
Well, I don't know, like when back in the day when I was a kid, like I was very interested into acting, like acting in general. Like I dreamt about seeing myself like on the big screen, like acting for movies, acting, on TV and things like that. But I never went for it. I never went for
Mm,
acting or took acting classes. I was always like, maybe after, maybe later, maybe later. So I was like focusing on just my studies and things like that. But then when I finished my studies, I got to learn or hear about voice acting. And I was curious to know, okay, when I was a kid, I thought that voice acting, like let's say the voices for commercials, were these people were people that were working in that brand. Let's say if this it was a commercial for a telephone company, I thought that this was an employee of that company that was doing these voices. But
yeah,
then I got to know about voiceover. I got to learn to know about audiobooks and different ways that you can use your voice. And also that I when I was like young, I was also recognized that I had a very deep voice sometimes, and that only brought me the curiosity also to go forward to and try to see voice over classes. So I went for voiceover classes, and I got the same feeling that I had when I was like dreaming about being an actor or like
nice,
doing like basic acting. So the voiceover, it gives you the whole room because even though you are using your voice, but when you require to do a character or you require to do a certain emotion, you need to act it out in order for your voice to actually project that feeling to someone who's listening. So I felt like this was this is very similar to this acting thing that I wanted to go forward. So yeah, I kept going on it on voiceover. I got my license in Dominican Republic to be voiceover, after taking exam there and also
mm-hmm.
evaluation by judges. And yeah, and as of now, I've been able to be the voice of different brands and campaigns in the Dominican Republic. And I've also narrated some audiobooks for some like publications companies.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's been nice. Like I've also been able to record some of the commercials and materials that I've been doing also here in this cabin that I created for myself in my house. And yeah, it's an amazing journey. It's something that I do to, you know, as a hobby, because it gives me joy. I feel like I'm enjoying it when I'm doing it. I like to play with my voice, to do different voices, different characters, and transmit the emotion. So yeah, I can say yeah, I've been able to work with different brands in the Dominican Republic that I've been really proud of. Like, and to listen to myself on the radio when I did this, when I experienced this the first time, it was like mind blowing,
It's
because I
crazy.
was like, oh my God, that's me. That's
It's,
me on the
you can
radio.
hear it in other people's cars.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah, and now when I do something like that, I tell my family like, hey, if you
Mm,
get to
mm.
listen to this commercial one time, that's me on my voice. And sometimes they send me like, hey, I listened to you in this commercial the other day.
Nice,
Is it you? And I'm like, yeah, that was me. So
nice,
yeah, it's something I love it. I like to do this communication things. So yeah, it's
nice.
also like a passion of mine.
Yeah. What are some of the brands that you've worked with, you've done voiceovers for?
Well, so yeah, I can mention here, I've done voices for a telecommunication company in Dominican Republic called Claro, also for other communication company called Orange. And I did also one commercial for Suzuki, the Suzuki brand, for Dominican Republic, and another for Smirnoff. If you
Oh
know the
wow, nice.
Smirnoff drink, yeah, I was able to do this one. It was like very amazing
Mm,
experience, because that I think that's the biggest brand that I've worked for, because I was like the commercial voice and for that campaign. And yeah, it was amazing. And many others, like maybe some small voices in different acting voice acting roles in the for the radio for other brands in Dominican Republic. But yeah, that's something I enjoy. I keep doing. I hope to keep doing it also as
of
well,
course,
because
of
you
course.
know, I need to use this this equipment that I already have here.
Yeah,
So, and I
yeah.
enjoy it.
John, you're a avid representative of Dominicans here in UAE. You've started a podcast. Your Instagram page is full of content and videos and posts about helping other Dominicans. You know, either moving here, educating them on the life of UAE. You know, especially here, especially now during Ramadan, you're sharing posts about what it's all about. You know, the processes of getting visas and this and that. You know, what sparked that? Because I know when you came here, you were bright eyed. You were excited to move to this country, and it was a new job, new opportunity, and it was very new to you, right? And so you went through those things yourselves. You learned it the hard way. I'm assuming. Um, what made you want to share this and grow this on the side of your career of, you know, being this incident responder and, you know, pushing hard in cyber, but you have this other passion project, you know, what's the drive for that?
Yeah, I don't know if you remember when we met in back in 2021. Yeah. I was like very new when we met. I was only
Yeah.
like one month in UAE. And I remember that I asked you some things about UAE, like, oh, I want to get my driver's license, and also asking you about your driver license experience and things like that. Because for me, when I came here, like everything was, all the processes were new, because I was not like, I didn't have a guide. I came here without like knowing what I was gonna, you know, find. So I had to build my own process on the way, and start like, if okay, now I want to get I need to get my driver license, because I need to drive. I cannot keep relying on taking buses and the metro, because it's taking a lot of time for me. So, okay, how do I get the driver license? Okay, there is no like a specific guide that can take you through all the steps and understanding and where you can go, what you need to do, and for a way for you like to plan this process. You will say like, okay, I'll take 2 months to get my driver license and that's it. But I didn't know that I didn't have that information and didn't
Mm.
find it also. So I had to do it for to create this information for myself. I ask you, okay, what was the school that you went to get the driver license? Because yeah, for my country driver's license, I'm not able to like transfer it. I need to take
You have to
classes
take the lessons,
to
and
take
yeah,
the lesson. So yeah, and then when I was there and taking the different steps, I was asking, okay, what's the next step? But what's the next step? And like taking on a note on that. And also when I needed to like rent an apartment or buy a car or do different things here in UAE or questions that have come to me like okay, we are in the month of Ramadan, but what does it mean? What is the meaning of Ramadan? And maybe people that don't live here, they don't understand how the city changes during this period, especially back in the day in those early 2021 in 2022, how everything was so different, or how different it is for someone who doesn't live here. So
yeah,
just this this amount of information that I was like gathering for myself and that I was experiencing all these new things, all these new beginnings, new ways of doing things. I just felt like, okay, maybe if someone goes through the same situation as myself and they come here, I would like them to find the resources that I didn't find for myself. So I want to provide them that with that information and that guidance. So that's why I started like doing this podcast to share how to do different processes in UAE. Also, I wanted to showcase the stories of all the Dominicans that are living here in UAE, because the Dominican community in UAE is not very big as other nationalities. Yeah, my country is very far away from here. Like there is no direct flight. Um, we are like more than 12,000 kilometers away from the my island. So that's I think one of some of the reasons why this community is not bigger. It's getting bigger now, but I wanted to give that as a guidance to others, maybe other Dominicans or maybe other Spanish speaking people also that would require this understanding on the traditions and the ways and the processes, because some of the things are very different from in the other side of the world. So I went ahead on that and on the podcast. Thankfully, I completed 1 year producing episodes, and also for the episodes, I was producing some videos also in social media to also share topics about the episode that I was going to release on that week. So yeah, it's been a great experience. I want to keep going on it. Like I already completed the first season of the podcast, so I'm looking forward to starting like a second season and maybe different format and more information. And also,
yeah.
as the podcast, the format is in Spanish. Like
Mm.
all the content is in Spanish, but I'm open to make the transition also and include English. Like I can include English guests, English stories, English content, and
Yeah,
to make it like broader for more people. So
of course.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of the turn that I want to give to the podcast now and other things. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. I'm excited because when you started that, that's kind of a little bit of a catalyst of why I started this as well. Because I'm like, oh, I have a friend who's doing this. I want to do the same thing. So, but man,
Amazing.
that's so cool, man. Honestly, um, yeah. Before I wrap up, I have one more question for you. Um, for those who want to get involved in cybersecurity in UAE, whether it is cyber or not, what advice do you have for someone wanting to get into the same position that you're in, and how can they get there quicker?
Well, I say like build build a good foundation. Build up from there, and also if you, let's say, are on the lookout for positions, don't just put the, I don't know how to say this phrase in English, but in Spanish it's like don't put all the eggs in the same box, because you don't know if those if that opportunity that you're going forward will actually come to be true. So open a lot of opportunities. Apply if you are looking for a job. Apply to 100 jobs every day, or send 100 messages every day for you to expand the window of your window of opportunities. Because let's say in a week you send 300 applications or 300 messages to recruiters. Maybe from those 300, maybe 20 will see this message or this application, and maybe from those 20, maybe 10 will reply and tell and say, okay, I'll let you know. And maybe from those 10, maybe five will say, oh yeah, we have an opportunity for you. Are you available for an interview? And maybe from those five, maybe one will be the one that will tell you, that will give you a yes. So it's a matter of keep pushing forward, but also expand your opportunities by like, let's say, apply to as much as you can. Don't just apply to, okay, I just apply to 10 companies and that's it. No, keep looking, keep going forward. You don't know what can happen, and it would always it doesn't matter how how your story begins. It would always make sense at the end. I can make a very good testament on that. So yeah, that's
Of
that's my
course,
that's my
yeah.
word for everyone.
Hell yeah, I can attest to that too.
True, true.
Amazing, man. Um, Thank you so much, John, for being a guest on this. I know I was grilling you a little bit, but I really appreciate you joining, man. You have a fantastic story to share, and I'm just excited to see where you're going next. Because every time I check in on you, you're doing something bigger and better, and it makes me want to do that as well. If someone wants to reach out to you, how can they get in touch with you?
Well, yeah, you guys can send me a message or a connection on LinkedIn. I'm in LinkedIn there. Yeah, I just need to be like more active there. But you can send me a connection request, and yeah, we can connect. Or you can also find me in social media in Instagram. You can find me in both in Instagram and in LinkedIn as joan.vidal.e. So you send me the request, we can connect there, and yeah, any question, any information that anyone needs, yeah, I'll be more than open to share.
Fantastic. I'll share your links in the show notes and across when I start sharing it and things. So I'll link you so that people can access your profiles quicker. Thank you for joining again. Any final words from your side?
Oh, yeah, no, I would just say like you are doing an amazing work. Like I congratulate you a lot for going ahead and going for this project. I know it's gonna be big. It's gonna be like a big thing here in UAE and in the world, you know. You're
I
gonna
hope so.
have a lot of it will be like a very good experience, this whole thing. So yeah, I wish you the very I mean, I send you the very best wishes, and yeah, like go forward, go on it, and yeah, you got started. So yeah, that's the most important step to get it started, and then everything will come forward
Exactly.
eventually.
Yeah. Thank you so much, man. That means so much.
No, yeah,
Yeah.
anytime.
No worries. Cool. Without further ado, take it easy.
Well, thank you. Bye bye,
Bye.
everyone.
Man, that was a good episode. So there it is, Joan Vidal for you. Like always, you can find Joanne's LinkedIn and Instagram below, as well as mine. We're always open to have a chat and get into the talks and get into the nitty gritty about stuff. If you enjoy this episode, please do rate it on Spotify or Apple Podcasts. It'll help a lot. And yeah, till next time.